He the one who got the Florida house.
Florida house from, so that's Turner. And so when I talked to Josh was like, hey, I met this guy. He trains my son, I believe, and you know he has a hell of a store. And so I actually had an opportunity. It was maybe like once or twice, I believe, when Josh and Brendan actually like did some field work with Coach Cheetah. And then Coach Cheetah started to send us like his rugby movies and stuff like that. Not movies, but highlights for the team he was playing for. And I thought that it's super amazing to see somebody from like Baltimore, somebody that's local, playing rugby on like a national level. Somebody that like dominated in track, really fast guy. Somebody who has like a redemption story, and somebody that I feel could actually motivate us and inspire us to just be our best selves. And so I didn't even know literally until like last night that he was on the books to come out and speak. And so, you know, usually I want our entire group here to hear this, because if JJ, if you tell him like, hey, I talked to Coach, it's not gonna be the same, right? And so I know some of our young people are missing it, but just listen to what he has to say. But even more importantly, ask questions if you don't understand. Allow him to go deeper, right? Like just don't pretend like you know. Ask questions. He is where he is. Ask him why. All right. And so, Coach Cheetah, you got the floor. I'll be quiet. We can talk about that after we done. Coach, you got paper? Can you get voices on paper?
Alright, what's up, guys? My name is, well, we call him Coach Cheetah, but my name is Carl, last name Joseph. But first thing I want to do is everybody go around one by one, introduce yourselves, and name, age, whatever.
My name is Jermaine.
You got it. Speak up.
My name is Jermaine. I'm 16 and I currently attend Edmonton Westside High School, and I've been in the program for about 5 to 6 years.
My name is Jonathan McCool. I'm 17. I go to Fallsbrook High School. I've been in the program for like 6, 7 years.
That's what's up.
My name is Sakia. I'm 17. I go to Bliss for leadership school for young women. I'm an intern and I'm new, just started.
My name is Donnie. I'm 16. I go to Bar High School, early college, and I've been in the program for 4 or 5 years.
My name is Ryan. I'm 13. I go to Ujima, Kick Ujima, and I just rejoined the program.
Okay.
My name is Horsey. I'm 16. I'm a student at Forest Park High School. And I've been in the youth for about 4 or 5 years.
What's up, man?
My name is Kenyon. I've been in the program second year, and I'm in 7th grade, and I go to county.
Okay. Yeah, he came in with a lot of energy.
Oh, y'all rivals.
So he had a lot of energy. But again, one more time going around. Tell me, what is one of the benefits that you liked about being in the program? One benefit. Or couple.
The opportunities. It's not like your regular mentoring program. You just meet up and they pair you with a mentor, and that's that. No, we've been on college tours. Me and 2 of my other peers had the chance to go to Michigan for a week.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
It good, like opportunities, but like you build an offense that is all.
Okay.
I would say the lessons, like they bring other people in to teach them about different things, like life coaching and stuff like that, how to deal with certain things.
I would say I would agree with JJ, like the opportunity for like also like the chance to like build like a close bond, you know, with people who like go through similar things with you and stuff.
Right.
I feel like in a way, like the different opinions and a different perspective of different things, like the way that different people think about stuff.
I agree with Ryan, like the exposure. When we we travel, things that we don't see in Baltimore.
Right.
In different cities.
Okay, cool.
I'll give me JA because like I can have opportunities and build relationships with certain people that I really don't like talk to on certain days, and people I can really rely on to help me build up and get my grades up and like
Okay,
and
cool. One goal.
A goal for life, for like this year or anything.
You can say for this year, how about that? We say for this year.
Come back to me.
Okay, go ahead.
I guess like take more walks.
You wanna take more walks? Okay,
Become more peaceful.
okay, cool.
Goal for this year, I would say, is to get to know more about myself.
Okay.
I would say, I guess,
Okay, how about for last year? What was the goal that you accomplished last year that you may have said?
well, I talked to like, I talked to and like I met a lot of different people and I was like out of my comfort zone because I don't just like I talk to the same people every day.
Right.
But last year I talked to a lot of different people and so I guess this year is just maintaining the relationship with all the people that I've met last year, like maintaining it and building more on it.
How that make you feel?
Meeting the people
Hmm?
last year. It made me feel good because I realized like I've been talking to the same people all the time and I realized it's so many different people out there who understand like how I feel and what I go through and they just have so much to offer, like so many different people have so much to offer me, so.
I think I wanna learn sign language or learn how to
That's
paint.
cool. Okay,
My goal is to make that states learn how to go track.
okay,
Keep my grades up.
alright, here we go.
For me, it would be to grow a following on social media. So,
Okay. Alright, well, for me, the reason I asked you about goals in general is because goals are important and, you know, even as I'm sure you guys have been as children and things like that, you set goals. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I did when I was a kid, I set goals because I was around people that taught me about what goals were, certain things like that. Cause I had my mom and I had a sister that was teaching me that stuff. So for me, I've always been goal oriented a lot of the time, so setting goals is extremely important for me. And then as I got older, getting around certain people that have the same energy as me, which is two of the people that are here now, that help me out. So they're like really close friends of mine. But they've helped me the same way I can help you out. They've taught me how to, you know, basically keep my eye on a goal and what it takes to like step towards those goals and to keep on. So for me, a big goal for last year, for me, that I would say I probably struggle with some of the time was a lot of my life, I should say, is having the proper circle of friends that you want to have around you that want to see you actually do well. Because I struggle with that a lot. Like, you know, obviously being an athlete, you can get a lot of friends, but it doesn't mean they're all like, you know, your actual friend and you want to really actually see you do well, because some of them can be envious, some of them can be jealous. It doesn't really matter. But through all of those things, I learned that there are people out here that actually genuinely want to see you do well and will push you and help you, you know, so you gotta be open to it. So I ended up on that, so that was something big for me. So my goal last year was to focus on trying to create a team of people that I can, you know, really trust and be vulnerable with, that, you know, wouldn't basically like use certain things against me like some people do, stuff like that, but would actually be open and honest with me, you know, hold me accountable for things that I do, and push me to be a better version of myself and not let me destroy myself, because that can happen, you know. So that was one of my goals for last year. So this year, the goals is, I don't know. No, I'm joking. But finish my book. I really want to finish my book, so I'm writing a book. It's a memoir about myself, basically just to tell my story. But that's something that's really, really big for me, to be able to, you know, help obviously the younger youth and to give you guys some more insight on who I may be. Not that you really know me, but also for people that I have grown up around throughout my life, to get more insight on who I am and what I've been through and the challenges and things that I've overcome. And kind of like just teaching tools to teach other younger kids like the blueprint to life on wherever I may have failed. You don't have to really technically fail, you just gotta be open and listen and get over those hurdles. But yeah, so I'm from Baltimore. I was born in Baltimore. I'm from West Baltimore. I used to live on Wood Street from Sandtown, basically. A little bit about that, which makes it a little more complicated, is I was raised by a woman that abused drugs during the time. So she was a crackhead, so she abused drugs. So a lot of times she would leave my sister and I, you know, had this lady named Miss Sandy. She would leave us at her house all the time, stuff like that, to go, you know, basically feed her addiction, you know. But as I got older, what I learned is that the woman that raised me, which wasn't my birth mom, I ended up getting taken away from my birth mom, me and my sister. And I ended up getting taken from my sister's sister, very complicated. But basically, it's a family that, it may not be my blood family, but it is my family that I was raised in due to my sister. And the woman that raised me was a social worker. So she was a person that loved to help people. So I admired that about my mom. She had a really, really big heart. As far as helping people, she would like go out of her way, regardless of the circumstances and things like that. Even if she didn't have it, she would figure it out somehow. So I kind of like gravitated towards that, and then she was like my biggest inspiration as a child. So, but anyway, as I got older, like I said, the woman that raised me, she never talked bad about my birth mom, so I never had like any bad feelings towards my birth mother, if that makes sense. Because some kids grow up and they hate their parent, or they're regretting if they would have run into them or something like that. But my mother said nothing but great things about my birth mom, so it gave me the opportunity to, I should say, maybe at a young age, to understand forgiveness, and to give people grace, and understand that people have other challenges. Don't know how I learned that, but I did at a young age. So, you fast forward a little bit as of now talking about my birth mom. I met her back in, I saw her a few times throughout my life, but I met her back in 2021, because that's when I was writing a book. So I actually had to sit down and talk with her, which was pretty cool, because I wanted to gain more insight on what she actually been through. And, it was a nice conversation, I would say. But
I know you said you forgave her and gave her grace and everything, but
Mhm.
how, going into that, were you nervous? Were you
nervous about what, meeting her?
Yeah, I guess like having to sit down and see.
I was a little nervous. Yeah, I'm a guy that gets nervous about things, especially if I've never done it before. Yeah, I get pretty nervous, so I have to like navigate my feelings and my emotions to like be like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So yeah, I was a little nervous, but once I'm in it and I'm doing it, I'm fine. I kind of just like relax. It's very easy for me to do it. There wasn't any like resistance towards it at all. It was a good conversation. I enjoyed it. So I gained a lot of insight on a little about who she was and how she got addicted to it, how it happened. Her expressing her love for me, which I don't doubt at all. I can only imagine what it feels like as a mom to have your kids taken away, and you can't, take care of them like you would want to, but you understand that they're better in other places, because she could have very well taken us back, because the woman that raised me never adopted me. She took guardianship over me to give my mother a chance to get clean, so if she wanted to come back get me, she could. But I commend her for, not creating other dysfunction, because it can, when you're jumping back and forth with kids, it creates a lot of confusion, and you're not knowing, having something stable, basically, is what it did. But yeah, all in all, I did learn a lot, and she told me about my father, because I didn't know who my dad was for a very, very long time, but I didn't think about my dad actually growing up. So I was given love and everything, so I didn't really think about having a dad, but my mom did try to put me around male figures growing up. That may have been a little bit of a hassle. That's why she put me in sports. But she also put me in sports because I had a very, very bad temper. I was very, very mean and angry, and some of that comes from a little bit from my birth mom because I had an older brother. His name was Wilton. I was 3. He was 20 when he was 20 when he died. I didn't really know him very much, but I still don't really like funerals. But I went to a funeral, and actually, that may have been the first time I seen my birth mom in a while. And I went over there and sat with her, things like that. And I have my other sister that I was telling you about. She's technically like my half sister, but I call her my sister. I don't use the half sister thing. But we have the same mom, different dads. And she calls her Coco because she's dark skinned. So that's how that works. But anyway, as we left the funeral and I got in the hearse, I used to think it was a limo, to be honest with you. So I'm a kid, it was like 3, so I thought it was a limo. I was excited. But anyway, when we got to the burial site, we got out, she was talking to a guy, and he basically, was telling her everything was okay, things like that. And she wasn't really feeling it, and she wasn't happy. So in that moment, it may have been her emotions. I'm thinking that now as an adult, but as a kid, what I heard out her mouth really hurt. It really hurt because she was like, my only son is dead, and I thought I was her son. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of really, you don't forget stuff like that. So. But we did have a conversation about that as well, and she doesn't remember it, and I don't expect her to because again, I'm an adult, so I understand. I give her grace. So in the moment, we say things and we don't really mean it. But she probably wasn't paying attention to that. So I had forgiven her about that one time, but that added to what I meant about me being angry. I just became really mean because I was just upset about that, and it affected me. So my mom, the woman that was raising me at the time, which was my mom, she put me in sports so that way I could harness all of that built up anger that I had to put it in sports. So my first sport I did was that I really, really loved was gymnastics. I was a gymnast first, so I was really good at gymnastics, and I used to just watch it on TV. And I liked how the gymnasts defy gravity, but I'm a kid. I didn't know they were on a bouncing board and everything like that. So I just started I was self-taught. I just started practicing myself and doing it. Taught myself how to do it. It was a gift I had. I was able to basically watch and mimic something someone does. So I figured it was a gift that I had, and I just practiced and failed and practiced and failed. So I learned about failure early on without even knowing that I was learning about failing to succeed, because a lot of people think failing is bad. Failing is good because it teaches you lessons. You understand where you failed at and you work to fix it, if that makes sense. So, I learned to fail earlier on, and I followed that throughout my life. And then the next thing that followed on with that, as far as challenges, felt like I was just going through a bunch of hurdles early on since I've been born. My mom that was raising me at the time, she got diagnosed with cancer when I was 8. So that was something that kind of created more friction during the time, because my sister that was living with us was no longer living with us, which ended up putting a lot of pressure on me as a kid. Go ahead.
So about your birth mom, do you have a bond with her or anything, or you had a talk?
I don't. We had a talk, and I gave her my number, and I tried to create some type of relationship with her. I don't know if she struggles probably because I don't know what may be wrong with her, but my phone is always open. She can call me. I've called her. Sometimes she may not answer. She doesn't answer, but I think what's important to her is her creating some type of bond with me before she may leave this earth, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things that she wants, because she can't get that with my sister, because her and my sister butt heads all the time. So she thought that I hated her, and I don't, because I don't know. I can't hate somebody I don't know. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. Good. Oh, I thought you raised your hand. Yeah, but anyway, like I said, the sister that I had gained, because the woman that was raising me, she had her own daughter, so that's how I gained another sister. I have 5 sisters, by the way. So There's my sister Lori. I have my sister Melissa, who's a doctor as of right now, and I have two twin sisters that was created by my sister's father, Lori's father, and another older sister. So all of the sisters I gained most of this from like inheritance, I guess you could say. But all of them are very sweet. They're all very sweet. They all have their ways, but being raised by women is definitely different, I should say. And I have much of a male presence around. It takes a toll. And I guess you say you can miss out on some things, but not really, because it puts the mom in a position to be the father and the mother. But like I said, my mom got diagnosed with cancer, and I ended up having to take the toll of like everything. So it's like no help. So I ended up like learning things earlier on, and like instead of being a kid, I'm like having responsibilities, like trying to, I guess, learn to cook. You know, cleaning, going to the grocery store, actually shopping, like learning how to shop at a young age and carrying the bags and all of that other stuff. So that's probably why I'm pretty strong right now, because I used to always carry a lot of bags. But so as that progressed, honestly, I used to walk in fear every day of my life. My mother didn't know that, my sister didn't know that, I never told them, but I did. I walked in fear because I was afraid I was gonna be alone. Because I didn't have my birth mom anymore, and I thought the woman that now took me in, I thought she would die, you know, because cancer is very serious, you know what I'm saying? So she had stage 4 lung cancer. Ended up getting progressively worse. She had cancer at first, but I went to chemo with her all the time. I would go to school. I had to learn to remember all the medicine that she had to take. Those names are wild, by the way. But I had to learn all the medicines that she had to take, and but it helped me, you know, to create some type of routine, because I learned how to have a routine, if that makes sense, because I knew like every day at this time I had to do this. You get what I'm saying? So I learned routine at a young age too. So like even though there's like the lesson in it, I guess what I'm trying to say is even though there's like some dysfunction there and there's some cons, there's also a lot of pros with it as well. You know, so it's a balance. And the cons, just you have to figure out that later on, maybe at some point in life, and things that may happen. But when I turned 13, she went to remission, which was a good thing. But then it came back, so then, you know, she ended up having stage 4 lung cancer. So that ended up doing more. She lost all her hair, things like that. Yeah, honestly, it was pretty tough. You know, the woman called me a lot about a lot of stuff, so I had a lot on me, like as a young teenager, just a load. And the only other thing that where I felt free in a kid is when we would go to North Carolina, because she's from Dillon, South Carolina. She's a country woman. And when I would go out there, it was the only time I could actually be a kid, because I didn't have to worry about, you know, taking care of anything or everything, because the family out there, they would actually help me. So I would just be gone all day and actually just play and have fun. So it felt great. And then when we would leave, it would suck. Like I did not want to go back. I didn't want to come back to Baltimore, because I knew it was an escape. It was like I get to escape from all the responsibilities that I had so early on, like worrying about pills and medicine and anything else, or cleaning or doing anything. I actually just got to just have fun and be free.
How often did you guys go?
To North Carolina? I think she tried to make that a regular thing, because I think she noticed, that's what you do as parents, you notice like what kind of like takes some pressure off your kids. And I think she tried to do that as often as we could. So she ended up, we had our little thing where she called me her road dog. So we always would drive down there, well, when we got a car, obviously, but we would ride down there and we would just play like all the music that she would like, because the music I grew up on is not music I really was supposed to know, I guess. So like I grew up around like a lot of the oldies. She loved like the Temptations and things like that, Patti LaBelle, the Earth, Wind and Fire. So I learned about all of that music, and I liked it too. So I used to always burn CDs for her, like all her music that she liked. You know what I'm saying? Like she liked Salt and Pepper and stuff like that. So a lot of the music that I like now and still listen to is because of my mom, to be honest. So I like, you know, 80s, 90s rap and the oldies and, you know, R&B and stuff.
So was your sisters, or your other sisters, were they there to like help out, or was it only you and your mom?
It was just me and my mom. At one point, the daughter that she had, that I told you that she had, she was there, but there was, you know, some complications between, you know, personal things that happened between her and my sister, so she kicked her out. And because she kicked her out, when she, you know, parents do that sometimes, whatever that happens, she had, you know, she welcomed her back, but my sister didn't want to come back because of her other situation that she had going on, and she decided to make a decision, which I think as parents, even though I didn't have a mom and dad, to me, like my sister was like my dad, basically, because she's the one who taught me how to throw a football. She's the one who taught me how to throw a baseball, everything like that. She's the one who toughened me up, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Because she used to fight a lot too. So I mean, she has her own story, which is I believe is pretty powerful, but that's different. But she's the one who taught me everything. She was like my dad. So how it felt to me, basically what I'm trying to say is when she was gone, it was like I had visitation rights, like with my dad or something like this. She was gone, and then I'm with my mom, and then I'm like going back and forth with them type thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it felt like. So it created dysfunction, and I think parents forget about that, forget about the kids, I should say. So they don't understand how that may affect the kids in the moment. And I think my sister understands that now. You know, she didn't know how that would have affected me, and it created more stress put more pressure on me as a young 8-year-old with her selfish decision. And I don't want to call it selfish, but she understands that it was selfish because she thought I wasn't needed. We had a conversation about it, so she just thought she didn't need me. Well, I didn't need her or whatever, so she did what she wanted because of her own, you know, feelings towards our mother. So she left and stayed away for a while. So I was taking care of my mom for a long time by myself before help came back, I should say. So she came back around when I was about to go to college. Yeah, that's when she came back. So she was gone for a while. But like I said, I had the whole visitation right thing going on, so I was like with her. And it was like I've been in college my whole life because I used to go to, you know, school with my sister, like when she used to go to Frostburg, because she was there first and she transferred when she was there. And then she ended up going to Morgan. She was a biology major. So I was like at Morgan before they even had a stadium. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw them build the stadium and everything like that. So growing up around her, I was in like her classes and stuff like that. So some people there thought I was like a young little genius or something, but I wasn't. I was just there with my sister. But I did some fun things there, especially over being a biology major. Like I actually got the opportunity to like sample like mice blood and stuff like that. We had to like cut their heads off, whatever, and do that. So it was pretty cool. That's what kind of like inspired me to, you know, I used to want to be like my big sister. I was her shadow. You couldn't get me from around her. So like once she left, like that feeling of how I felt with her too, left a little bit too. Because it's like she's no longer there, so and I have to deal with all this other stuff. So, but yeah, go ahead.
I have a question.
Yep.
Now I know I'm coming in on the tail end, on the back end, but how do you think the environment that was created,
Mm-hmm.
right? Given the fact like there was some disconnect from like the sister,
Yeah.
no male presence,
Right.
being a care provider at a young age, like how did that impact some of the choices and decisions that you made, just kind of growing up, like?
In all honesty, doing some of the things I did now, it forced me to actually, I feel like it forced me to like, I just had to figure it out on my own. As far as like, especially how to be a man, because I didn't have a guy teaching me how to, you know, be a man and everything like that. My mom couldn't teach me that, you know, she taught me things like how to treat a woman. You know what I'm saying? She taught me those things because, you know, that's what she knew. She's a woman, so that's what she would try to teach me. But as far as like the male presence, there was no male presence. I had some, but I also grew up in a family of murderers. So, you know, I'm coming from a family of guys that were in jail majority of my childhood. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't there to really teach anything. So I had like older cousins that would like try to teach me stuff, but that's not the same. Like I think they understood though that, go ahead. Oh, you be doing this, so I'm thinking you raise your hand. But I think they understood that there were certain things I didn't need to do, but they also kept me out of trouble. So like again, like I said before, like there's the pros and cons of that. And you know, the con is, yeah, I didn't have any male presence, but it was something that would fill in some of the gaps a little bit and try, I guess, to happen in my life in the little circle that I had, like with my older cousins. Because they wouldn't have me in the streets, but I mean, I understand the streets, even though I'm from a certain area, but I'm not a street guy at all. You know what I'm saying? They kept me out of the streets because I actually had some type of a gift and a talent for sports and things like that. So they knew that I didn't need to be out there. But even though, you know, I wanted to be around my bigger cousins, they was just like, you know, if they would do something, like, go, like type deal, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, go.
Who were some of the positive influences in your life outside of your biological family growing up?
Next question, please.
So some of the positive influences, man, in all honesty, a lot of the positive influences that I got outside of my actual family happened honestly, with some football, just being around other individuals with football. Also, when I got into once we left West Baltimore, we went to Columbia. We were in a homeless shelter for a couple of times. So I ended up meeting other good people like that I'm still friends with right now. That I thought would judge me, whatever, from being homeless and everything like that. And you know, so those are people that, like you said, that have made a huge impact on my life. So I paid attention to those type of people that are still around, that didn't judge me, and like I said, building a team. Yeah, other people that are here, like I said, those two, like they've been impacts in my life. And if my mom was here, she'd be like, better late than never, because it's the truth. And so I didn't think I would really have certain people in my life, to be honest. Sometimes I don't know why I second guess it, but the people that I have in my life, sometimes I feel like I don't know what I did in my past life to have certain people in my life now, but I'm very grateful for it. I should say that. So, yeah. Good.
Like how back like when you were taking care of your mother and like other stuff, how were your grades?
Man, oh my God. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I was accelerated because I so the two women that I was raised by, very, very smart women, very intelligent. My mom was absolutely brilliant, but they would have me do a bunch of things like how should I say it? Writing words down, doing a whole bunch of like stuff that just like that's very repetitive. It's the same way how I train athletes. Like you have to be repetitive in order to get better with it. So I was actually accelerated pretty early. That I was an early learner, so I was like at the top of my class. But once, like you said, with the cancer thing that happened, I just started to not care about school, to be honest with you, because like I said, I started walking in fear like every day of my life. So I would like kind of like downplay myself and my intelligence. So I wouldn't do my school, I wouldn't do my homework, I didn't do classwork. But like when we had tests, I would pass all the tests, and the teacher would just be like, he's not doing anything, you know what I'm saying? So I would just be disruptive in class, not on purpose, but like I was just talking and not paying attention, or I was technically, just to let y'all know, I was paying attention, but I didn't act like it. So like when the teacher, I was one of those kids where it's like, you try to like make them look stupid in front of the class, and you call them like, oh yeah, answer this, and I answer the question, you get what I'm saying? So I knew the information, I would downplay my intelligence, I just didn't want to do the work. Yeah, go ahead.
So did you ever have like a bond with your father?
I haven't met him, I still don't know him. I know what my name was supposed to be, so I did learn that. So my actual biological father, his name was Ronaldo Frost, so that was what my name was supposed to be, but I was named after a man that I found out that was a traveling welder that my mom thought was the father. So yeah, so I'm named after the original uncle. Yeah.
Wait, so technically you're a junior?
Yeah, but it's not on my birth certificate, but I am a junior, yeah. It's not on my birth certificate, but I am a junior for sure. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, my grades they went like this. I would just downplay myself, seriously.
So I have a question. If your grades was like this, let's say, later on in your academic career, what was your thought process around age 17, 18 when it's about time to graduate? What were you planning?
So I'll give you the timeline of that, right? So when I was in elementary school, I went through this like, I guess a little bit of a phase before all of that happened, like I said, because she didn't get cancer until I was 8. So first grade, I was like passing every spelling test. And that's a little thing that happened because the teacher thought I was cheating because I was the only one like always getting 100 on the test. But like I said, my mom and my sister like made me write the word out 20,000 times, write 5 different sentences, like, so it was things that I did, so I just knew the words. So I was the only one in class that took verbal tests, and I'm like 7. Because she thought I was cheating, so she would make me stand outside the classroom while she would give them the actual test, the right, and then after that, I'd come in and she would stand in my face and make me do it. Because she thought I was cheating, I still got them on. Yeah, I still would get 100, it didn't matter, I got 100 every week. So, that was something that was, a little challenge.
Now I have a question before you go forward.
Yep.
If you was another race, you think they would make you stand outside?
Oh, no. I don't. No, I don't. I did have a Caucasian teacher. That was my first grade teacher. But she actually ended up like at some point admired me. I became her favorite student. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, you know what I'm saying. She ended up becoming her favorite student. You know, so she kind of like, you know, let it go, whatever. But anyway.
So wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Your school was like white and like what?
I went to Leaf Walk when I was in elementary school. I went to Leaf Walk.
Let's leave what?
Leaf Walk was actually a really good school, like elementary school, that you had to like during the time like where testing and stuff like it, you know, I guess it still matters, but you had to test to like get into Leaf Walk and everything like that. So when I was coming out of the early learners now, like I said, I was at the top of the class, so like I got in there. That's why. But to go back to the next thing, like I said, so I had my grades were fine. Like I'm still answering this question. My grades were fine, like through all the way up until when I got to, I want to say, 5th grade. So, because that's when all the dysfunction and everything started happening in 5th grade. I started to just not care about stuff, like I said. And then I still passed because I just knew certain information. But my favorite teacher was Miss Davis. So like when we would have certain things, I did well in elementary school. When I got to middle school is when I just stopped doing stuff. To be honest, like altogether, I would only do like the bare minimum. But because I guess I would say the power that my mom had a little bit of, with her being a social worker and working for the city, and she was like one of the best social workers in Baltimore. You know, she had some type of intimidation factor. I don't know, but she would talk to the principal, things like that, and the teachers. But the teachers were more concerned with me being talkative during class. And they were concerned about my grades, but then they really couldn't be because I would like pass all the tests. And my mom would just be like, right now, it didn't work. And I didn't want to. I didn't have an excuse. I'm a kid. I don't know how to articulate like my feelings at the time. So I'm just like, I don't know. You know, but after that, I started like, as I got to like where it caught up to me, honestly, was once we left Baltimore and we went to Columbia. That's when it really like caught up to me. Like I couldn't like just like get away with like the bare minimum and just like downplaying myself, because like when I was out there, they test you to see what classes they're gonna put you in. So they tested me obviously, and then like when I took the test and when they told me the classes, I didn't want to do it because I knew it was gonna be more stuff on me and I already had enough on my plate. So I did well obviously. So they were gonna put me in like some GT classes and some other honors classes, whatever. And I didn't want to do it. So my mom didn't make me do it because I think she understood that I had a lot on my plate already. But right now, as an adult, I wish she would have. But she didn't because I think she understood like all the other stresses I had, and I knew I would have to do more work. And then when I got to high school, I actually failed the 9th grade because I did nothing at all. Yeah, I failed the 9th grade. We were living in a shelter my 8th grade and 9th grade year, so I did absolutely nothing, to be honest with you. I actually failed 9th grade because I didn't do anything. I didn't even try. Like, that was the difference. I didn't even try to do the bare minimum. I did nothing. I would just go home, go in the shelter and act like I did some work and I didn't. Yeah, good.
How did it make you feel?
What?
When you failed 9th grade?
Like trash? No, I didn't make me feel like trash. I'm joking. No, I just felt, I disappointed my mom, you know, let her down because you would think I would understand that if I actually do well, that would kind of like not stress her out too in a way, but I don't know that as a, you know, I'm 14, you know, you would figure that out, that I would know that, but I was, I guess in a way, I guess you can call it selfish in a way. I was thinking about myself and how I felt, and I still during that time didn't know how to articulate my feelings and how I felt to my mom because of everything else that was going on, but I was keeping a lot back from her because of how I felt and, like I said, how I walked around in fear. So, and then just on top of like trying to be judged and living in the shelter, like the school was literally right here and the shelter was right here. So like I was very embarrassed to come out of the shelter to be seen. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought, you know, kids are mean. So I'm just saying, kids are mean, they can be bullies. So I didn't want to be seen, to be honest, and I didn't want to get picked on and stuff like that because I was a small guy anyway. But also, again, the anger thing. So, but that was harnessed, obviously, with sports, so I wasn't really like snappy. As much as I was when I got older. Go ahead.
So you was living in the shelter while your mom was in the hospital?
No, she wasn't in the hospital. She just would go to chemotherapy because she had cancer. She would have to do chemotherapy. And I would go there with her sometimes if I could, obviously, but if not, then I would go to school for the most most part. But she was still working. You would have never known she was sick because she didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew she was sick, honestly. Yep.
Did your mother like pass away from cancer?
She did. Yeah. She passed away when I was 20. Yeah.
So how many years ago was that?
Like 11. Yeah, because I'm 31 now. So, but yeah. Yeah, I thought it would get easier as I got older because I got stronger and everything. To be honest, it's wrong. I thought it would get easier, honestly, as I got older, because I was, you get older, you get stronger, you can do more things. But she asked for more, so that's gonna happen, because you can do more, so the load of it is just gonna happen. And then when I got to 15, she ended up getting type 2 diabetes. So now, on top of the cancer and everything like that, now I had to learn to take her sugar and watch her glucose level and stick a needle in her and all that stuff. So it just piled up. And then, yeah, like, I felt like I was with a permanent pregnant woman. Because, like, her taste buds were, like, outrageous. Like, I went to the store probably, like, 3 times a day. Because she just had different things. But also, that's a joke, but also, she just wanted, she liked getting things from me. She wanted to make sure I was good. She always wanted the best for me, so she tried her best. So she would mostly send me to the store to get stuff that she wanted, but mostly it was stuff that it was for me, honestly. So that's really what it was. She just loved watermelon. So yeah, I would go and get watermelon or whatever else she liked. Yeah, go ahead.
When did you start feeling like your life was becoming better than your circumstance?
Sheesh, man. There's some turning points, for sure. First turning point was after I got injured for the first time in sports. And that was when I was a senior in high school, and I just thought everything was just gone. But I made a promise to God that I wouldn't lose faith again, because I felt like I got injured and everything happened because I lost faith. And I did. My coach wasn't really believing in me. Things weren't going the way I felt it was. My mom was sick. So the turning point for me, honestly, was, actually going to college. To be honest, because I didn't think I was going to go to college. I thought I was going to have to stay and take care of my mom, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to go or not. But my sister, she came back to help, so I could actually leave to go to college. And so yeah, that was actually the first turning point for me, where things seemed to go on the up. So I went to a community college first, but I went because I was playing football, because I needed to get my grades up. I kind of like started to do better late, because I understood, like, I wanted to play football, and make it somewhere. And I made a promise, like I said. So I started to work on my grades and actually do that. When I actually tried, the highest GPA I had, I got like a 3.8. But that was when I actually tried. But when I didn't, I was like, whatever. I didn't care. I was just like, this is stupid. I didn't like school. I personally love school, and I think school is a great teaching tool for life and other things you do. But for me, this is just me. That's me. For everybody else, I just felt like it wasn't enough. I didn't feel like I was really learning like I wanted to, the type of learning that I know I learned, which is by doing things and just being around it, being in it, like hands-on. Like sitting in a classroom does not help me. For me, not for, it doesn't mean for everybody. So, but me personally, I just didn't care for school. I'm not gonna lie. So, but I did it because I did it for my mom, because she was everything. She's my fire. She was like everything that I worked hard for. So I did it for her because education was important to her. So that's really why I went to college, with her. If not, I probably would have went into sports, obviously. So yeah. But.
Okay, so like your mother's death, like how did it affect you? Like, was it like a relief, or like?
No, it wasn't a relief at all. Because regardless of how many thousands of cup of glasses of water she asked me for, I wanted to give her another one, and I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? So you don't hear your name being called anymore. That hurts. You don't hear your mother's voice anymore. That hurts. And everything that you fought for just goes out the window. Like, my choir was gone. Like, when I was in college, she died when I was a junior in college. So like, I ended up actually getting. It was in the newspaper, my first actual like collegiate start at running back. I was playing running back in college, and she came to the game, and then after that, she had like some oxygen tank or whatever. I've never seen one in my life. So in my mind, I knew stuff was like kind of like bad, but you know how parents are. I mean, well, they try to lie to you so you don't worry. She didn't want me to worry too much, so she would lie to me, and I believed it. So I was naive. I shouldn't have believed it, but I believed it because I believed my mother. You know what I'm saying? She never lied to me, so why would I worry about it? So she told me not to worry, but at some point, we had a bye week, and then when she passed, yeah, it sucked because I didn't get to say anything to her. You know, so I laid next to her that night because she was on hospice, and I woke up the next morning, she was gone, so she basically died in my arms. Yeah, so that really sucked, and it broke me. The rest of my football season, I still played well, but it hurt every game because I cried after every game. I just sat in the middle of the field. It didn't matter if it was a away game or a home game. I just sat, and like one of my teammates had to like come get me all the time. It's the same teammate. It was like one of my linemen. But the reason I did that, and I'll tell you why, is because I was trying to avoid the reality of going in the parking lot, because one of my things that I always did after a game was I would go meet my mom in the parking lot and see her after the games. So she was no longer in the stands, she was no longer in the parking lot. So I was trying to like run away from that because it hurt too bad. So I would just get dressed and I would take my time. It took me a while, but yeah.
So, writing the book, how does that feel? Like,
Oh man, that's writing for me is that's therapy. You know, it takes a lot. Everybody, I feel like everybody has one book in them at least if they want to, but it takes a lot to be vulnerable, to put something down on paper, and to be open to enough to tell people what you want, because everybody can't do that. You know, you would think they would, and I feel like they can, but everybody can't do it. They can't be that open and be that vulnerable to let somebody know what they've been through and to share it when, you know, a story has power and you can relate to a lot of people. That's the point of it for. So to give insight in so people can relate, and hopefully it inspires people and gives them hope and helps them to accomplish other things. Like, that's what I care about, impact.
Any other questions? Force, you got a question? I know you've been waiting to see Coach. You've been waiting to see you in person.
Oh yeah, I can go
So when you like your mom wasn't in the parking lot and like you would see everybody else, that's why you took your time and like
Yeah, because I was avoiding it because everybody else was seeing their parents and I couldn't see mine.
and like with football, right?
Yeah.
Did that work out in college? Or like when did you decide to run track?
Yeah, I know he said that, but I actually never ran track, though. I never ran track. I just trained like a track athlete. Like, I learned I found my mother always wanted me to run track. The reason that she ran track before, and she used to always tell me when I was younger, like how great I looked running. Like, she was just like, she never saw somebody run like that before, so she always used to try to get me to do track, but I just didn't have the fire for it. I didn't care to do track. I was like, I don't know. I didn't have the fire to line up next to somebody and race them and be like, yeah, I beat you. I don't know. I felt better, like, I had the fire to run away from somebody that was trying to tackle me. I don't know. So it's a different type of fire. But now, what's crazy is I learned to find a love for it because of my mom, and started training like a track athlete mostly, and learning those things and actually doing it because, you know, somehow things come back around in your life to do it. So I just started really like doing some track stuff, honestly.
So when did you get that relief? Like when did you stop walking with fear and everything? Like did that ever happen?
Yeah, it's going to. Of course, the fear stopped when she actually was gone. That's when the fear was gone. That's when it happened. She's no longer here, so what else am I going to fear besides God? You know, there's nothing else to be afraid of to me. You know, I was afraid of losing a person that's been there for me my entire life, and that I've been taking care of to try to keep healthy. You know what I'm saying? For a long time, from 8 to 20 is a long time, to be honest. So I know not only did I help her fight, she fought for me. Because she thought she would have been gone a long time ago. She didn't even think she was going to see me go to prom. You know, so for her to actually get the opportunity to, you know, see all those things, that made her happy. And I think the happiest thing for her was she saw the man I was becoming, and she got happy and she stopped fighting. She felt at peace because she just wanted to make sure I would be able to, you know, be okay and take care of myself. That's what she was afraid of, that I wouldn't be able to take care of myself. So that was her fear for me. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like say your mother wasn't sick, right? and like you could do only one thing, like one more thing for her, what would it be?
If she.
Oh,
makes
I mean,
it-
not picture, like if she, like, what was the last?
Wasn't.
Yeah, like if she didn't pass away.
If she didn't pass away? Oh, I mean, the typical thing, I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I wanna give my mother a house. It's pretty typical, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's every kid's, you know, thing, they wanna get their mama a house and, you know, treat them right and all that other good stuff, you know, it's typical, I'm gonna be honest, yeah, you know, but now is, I'm gonna get a house, I'm gonna get like this, I plan to get like a huge, my favorite picture of her, this huge picture, like, in like the dining area, like she's looking over it like this, yeah, go ahead.
2 questions.
Yep.
Okay, so the first one, when your mom did pass,
Right.
who did you lean on to, or like did you distance like yourself from everybody?
I was so used to being strong, I didn't say anything to anybody. I just went back to college. I just went back to school and dealt with it. I cried in the shower. I woke up, I cried. I cried in the shower. I cried getting dressed. That's how I dealt with it. I went to football practice. I cried and I practiced and I just got it out. I didn't say anything to anybody for a very long time. I didn't express anything because I was so used to being strong and everybody's used to me doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I never expressed anything. It took me a while before I really figured out like I really needed to grieve because I didn't, because I was doing so much, which is why I felt as though I couldn't focus even when I had opportunities professionally to do stuff. I couldn't focus because my fire, she was my fire. She was everything I worked hard for and it was gone. So I felt powerless. It was like, you know, it's like kryptonite, you know what I'm saying, for Superman. Like I just didn't have it. My mom wasn't there. That was my fire. You know, while I did everything I did, it was like, I felt like it was pointless now. So I had to get myself back together, basically. So, yeah.
So second question, while you was taking care of your mom, were you working or was it your mom in school?
It was, my mom was working. My mom actually she wouldn't let me get a job. She wouldn't let me get a job. Yeah, I actually didn't work. I never worked. My first job was when I was, right before I was about to go to college. I worked at Cold Stone for like the summer, and then I went to college. And that was, actually I'm lying. I went to college. I didn't work at Cold Stone until, actually my first actual job was when I was a junior in college. Actually, I'm not even gonna lie. I just thought about that. Yeah, I worked at Cold Stone for the summer. So it was when I came back from Minnesota before she died. So that summer I worked before when I transferred schools. So I was in Minnesota at first, and then I transferred to Shenandoah in Virginia. So that summer, that was the first time I actually had my first job. Yep, good.
Did you go to your mom's like funeral? Did she have one?
Yeah, I went. That was probably horrible. It was horrible. I don't like funerals, so even though like they allow you to view the bodies and things like that, it's not something I could do. It was regardless of how it looked. This is a woman I've looked at my entire life, and I refused to watch them close a casket in my face. So I didn't even look at it. Couldn't do it. It was too hard. But the only thing I did was I took my little league jersey and I buried that with her, you know. So that was a part of me because that's what she loved seeing me do, is play football in the run. That was her favorite thing to do. She loved seeing me do. So I just left that. Yeah.
I know it's like this for me. So for you even now, when you accomplish things, is it like, oh wow, they're proud, and it's also like, dang, they're not here. You have all these people here, but that's the only person missing. Like, is it?
I wish my mom. I do, cause like when I talk to even them, I wish they would have met my mom because she was amazing. Like, and I think the things that I got from her is what I do with them. So I believe I'm a healer, and my mom could just like, if any one of y'all were in the room with her, like it'd be like daylight outside, and then next thing you know, like you'd be in there talking to her, it'd be dark just like this. You would lose track of time because that's how easy it was to talk to her and just be vulnerable. Like she had a gift to just talk to people, and people would just let stuff out, and she would help them. So I feel like that's what I was, something that I got from her that I was able to do.
Okay, so like after your mom's death, like did you like gain like a stronger bond with like your biological sister and also like your other sisters?
I'm gonna be real with you. that is something I'm still navigating because we all try to, learn each other as adults now. So sometimes it can be difficult because there's been so much that's transpired between us. But again, the type of person I am, I give grace and I'm forgiving. I just work on it, trying to, better those relationships because every relationship goes through things. You get what I'm saying? The key word in it is a shift. So you have to help each other navigate those things. So stuff's gonna happen. It's never just gonna be a smooth sail. So it doesn't matter what type of relationship it is.
You said that the only thing like being able to feel it is God. So did you like pray a lot?
I learned to, yeah. I did when I was younger a lot. Like sometimes I have my moments where I don't, but then I, snap back. I'm honest. God knows my heart, but yeah, I give a lot of the glory to Him because I learned faith at a young age, so I walked by blindly. Like whatever I felt the opportunity to do, I just went and did it. And I just trusted God that much. I didn't care. Like, if I failed, I failed. I was like, all right, whatever. That's how I am. It's like failure doesn't affect me. Like it's a part of the journey. You gotta be okay with failure. It's gonna happen. It sucks. It sucks. But there's great benefits from that. Some of the most successful people fail a lot. A lot. Like no, a lot. Like there's no one failing, so it's a lot. So be okay with failure. If you get comfortable with that, I think you'll be very successful. And then, like I said, gathering a group of people around you that understand that can help you navigate your feelings and know what your goals are and what you want to do, they can push you.
Coach Sheeta,
Yeah.
I feel compelled to say this from one brother to the next with, both of our stories kind of being similar but unique in their own ways.
For sure.
I think that your mom is extremely proud of who you become as a man. I think that the lessons that she taught you are transcending despite whatever challenges that you face. And I know I struggle with this. It seemed like no matter what I accomplish, it's never enough.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's never enough. But what I'm learning is that it is enough. Because had I not, and had you not had the beginnings that we've had, we would be totally different people. And so thank God for the time that we had with our loved ones who, loved us enough to hold on to life so that we can inspire to be better and different than everything we come from. And because, when the world sees you, you're going to be the rose that grew from the concrete. And it's going to be some young man, maybe it's Orsi or some young lady that say, wow, like I can only imagine having a husband that resilient or a father that resilient or becoming somebody that resilient. And so I think that, for what it's worth and for not even what it's worth, the truth is, man, you have every reason to be proud of yourself because usually in those stories, it usually ends where somebody's coming out and saying, hey, I did 22 years or 25 years and I did this and I hurt. That's usually the narrative. And for you to face what you faced, and that's not your narrative, you know what I mean? Despite whatever bumps that you might have had, it's not, look, I'm continuously learning, continuously growing, continuously failing, continuously believing. And that foundation was put in you because your mom was in your life. And so I definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure.
And I pray that you guys took something from Coach Cheetah when you walk back in your class, now that this is a part of your newfound history, right? We always talk about Black history, and we kind of get stuck on the key people, right? We love Dr. King and Malcolm and Rosa, Obama, right? Obama. But when somebody come and share their story, that now become a part of your history, even though it's their history, but you can learn and take bits and pieces from everything that he shared, because the truth is, we don't know what the circumstances will be for us, right? We don't know what it's gonna look like when we go off to college, right? But you're gonna need to pull from some strength, and you gotta think back, well, I met a guy, he made it, he made it, I can make it too, right? And he's still growing. Making it isn't just, like being like this super celebrity, like that's not making it. Making it is becoming the best possible version of yourself as an adult, right? That's making it. when you come from something that people equate to nothing, but you're above that, and you know that there's no way to go back. That's what making it big. All right. And so, Coach Cheetah, man, I'm just super proud of you. And I thank you, bro. Appreciate you for coming out, talking to these young people. And thank you guys for your questions.
Thank
I know
you.
that
I appreciate y'all.
What's up? So
Thank
can we
you.
get Coach Cheetah?
Y'all asked some really good questions.
Yeah, they do, bro.
Yeah, they asked some good questions.
Some young lawyers. Can we give Coach Cheetah a hand, please? All right, guys. Technically, we wrapping up. I know.